In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to replace the alternator on a 2009 Hyundai Elantra. My daughter calls me yesterday, tells me, "Dad, I can't start the car up." I go check it out. The alternator's bad. I was going to do a video while I was replacing this alternator, but it's so tight in here, I really couldn't get the video that I wanted to get. Basically, what you got to do here is this bolt, the top bolt on the alternator, take that one out, and this adjustment screw will come right out. You're going to disconnect your cable. You're going to push on this pin here, and that slides right out. Right underneath the connector, there's your battery cable. Pull this cover off. You'll see the nut, that comes off. Once you get those two out, you're good to go with the electrical connectors. Under here, where my finger is, there's a bolt there. I'm going to get underneath the car. So there's your nut that's underneath the alternator. You're going to back off on that nut, take it all the way off. Once you get that nut off the bottom of the alternator, that bolt has to slide all the way through. Now, to get that bolt out, you're going to come to the front wheel well, the right side. This cover here has to come off. Now, to get this plastic cover off, there is 3 bolts. One here, one there, and one right there. So you're going to remove those 3 bolts. This cover comes off, and that long bolt for the alternator is right underneath, right in here. And it'll slide right out this way. You can grab some vice grips on it and slide it right out. This bracket must be loosened. You're going to loosen this bolt, get it all the way out, loosen this bolt all the way out, and under here on this bracket there's another bolt. This one you take completely out. And what that does, that allows this bracket to move all the way over to the left, or as far over to the left as you can get it, making it easy to get this alternator out. Now, there is one more thing you got to do. This shroud for the fan has to come up. There's a couple of clips on both sides. You pop these clips up. Don't break them. Just pop them back far enough where you can slide this up. Right? Once this slides up on both sides, right, there's the other clip for that. So you loosen those 2 clips. This whole housing comes up, and you just slide it off to the right. Now, you're not going to be able to move this off to the right too far, but it's just enough to get this alternator out right through here. So once this is loose, and this is as far over as you can get it, this alternator will slide. You're gonna have to finagle it and move these air conditioning lines a little bit, but it'll slide right up through here. And then to get this back together, it's the reverse process. Put the alternator in, get your top bolt in, get your bottom bolt in, get it all together, and then tighten this bracket. Because if you don't, this bracket won't be in the right position, and it might hit the alternator. But other than that, put the wires back in. Now, if you're going to do this work, I highly suggest do both belts while you're in here. I don't see a reason not to do the belts. If you're going to take the alternator off, you're going to take the alternator belt off. And if you haven't done the air conditioning belt in quite some time, now that you got this all apart, it's just easier to get that done right now. Now, the air conditioning belt, to loosen that belt, there's a pulley here behind this. I can't show it to you, but it's directly behind this cover, and it's almost like the alternator. Loosen the adjustment nut, loosen the pulley, and it comes right out. Now, to tighten this belt, this here is your adjustment. You're going to tighten this screw till the belt is tight, and then tighten the top bolt and tighten the bottom bolt. So I already know my battery's good. I have it on a battery charger right now, getting it back up because it was running off battery power, so the battery got a little low. Once this is completely charged, I'm going to go ahead and test the electrical system to make sure that the alternator is charging. Now that the battery is fully charged, I'll go ahead, remove the battery charger. I'm going to put the tester on the terminals. I'm going to go ahead and test the battery and the system. This battery is 600 cold cranking amps. So I set the machine at 600 cold cranking amps. I was testing the battery. .30 volts, 635 cold cranking amps. It's a good battery. We're going to start the engine. This is called the cranking test. RPM detected. Testing. Cranking normal. Charge test, yes. Loaded testing. Increase revs. Increase rev detected. Now it's testing. Now, charging is normal. Loaded is 14.12 volts. No load, 14.26 volts. And my ripple is normal. Before, it said charging low. And loaded, it was 13 volts. And that was the best that the alternator could do. But now we're back to normal. We're good. So I take the tester off. When you do an alternator, if you don't replace the battery, I highly recommend you take your terminals off and you clean everything up really good. I normally clean my terminals once a year anyways, to make sure I got good contact between the battery and the alternator. If these terminals get dirty, it's going to put a hell of a load on the alternator to try to recharge your battery. And that could cause the alternator to go bad too. The alternator is it's just not strong enough for this vehicle. Honest to God, even in the manual it tells you don't run the driving lights or the fog lights, driving lights, because the alternator can't handle it. It's only a 90 amp alternator for this vehicle. And it's barely enough to maintain the electronics on this car. I really wish I could have showed you guys and gals while I was removing that alternator and putting it back in. It's such a tight fit in there that the video would have came out horrible. And if I had a helper, I would have been able to do a better job of it, but I don't, and the tripod just wasn't working. But it's pretty much exactly what I said. So if you guys follow those steps and you're mechanically inclined, you shouldn't have any problem replacing your own alternator. God bless. Take care. Wish you all the best. Bye-bye.